play music.
Wagz here from Slime Music Productions. As I prepare to release my 8th instrumental album, everything's up on BeatStar. Everything I'm about to show you is on wagz.beatstars.com. Everything I do when it comes to this music, I am very professional about it, even though I'm here having fun. Speaking of a little fun, I want to have a listening party. This listening party is going to be all about my first instrumental album that I put out earlier this year. Got 20 instrumentals on it. Just taking abilities that I had from 20 years ago, because I just a year ago got back into this after many years of not making any beats, only just writing and recording just for fun and just to get stressed out and stuff like that. I want to be able to write to what I create. I've never liked anything I've ever created when it comes to beats. When I start writing, I'm like, oh, just it's lacking something. There's whatever it may be. After 30 years of wanting to do this, I gotta make it happen. Now is the time to make it happen. So let's get into this. We're going to have a little listening party and go through all the beats that I created off the first album. It's not that bad. It's got a lot of bass. My abilities with the hi-hats are not the greatest yet. I've gotten a lot better. Y'all see. I get crazy with the hooks. I do admit my hooks tend to be drastically different from the verse, and I'm trying to get away from doing that. With this beat, I was trying to figure out how to make distorted bass. It's so popular now, which I know how to do now, but at this time this was in my learning stages of just, I bought the driller plugin thinking, ooh, that'll be the best way to do it. Gave me some decent basses to work with. Is that the way to go about it? It can be, but it limits you. You want to get good at turning any 808 or whatever kick into something that you want it to be. Invest in yourself, invest in plugins. Next. These beats are not the greatest, but it's a starting point. As you can tell, and if you start going through all my beats, you start noticing I love using vocals as a melody. I feel vocal melodies really add to the emotion, especially when I am lacking in my abilities to create great chords and great progressions with whatever instrument I may be using. And my melodies are just, they're getting better. I will admit they're getting better. I noticed in a lot of my older beats that I made last year, I like bringing in sounds that reminded me of early 90s to mid 90s hip hop. This reminds me of stuff I was making 20 years ago, with the really long, droning melodies. It's not something you hear today. At least not very commonly. But I enjoyed the piano. That's the one thing I really love about this beat, is the piano. I love to use real strings and instruments. It's actually pretty tight, man. I like this. Next. This is called Dark Days. My latest instrumental album that just came out is called Cinematic Score 2 Dark Days, because the majority of the beats are dark. It's October, figured I'd make dark beats because I just seem to always be making dark beats. I love dark, sinister sounds and hard-hitting beats, and when I'm done making it, I'm like, oh, this is a kind of a dark, evil sound. But I think it sounds tight. Now that sound right there, I am liking it because it reminds me of like Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and, you know, the early to mid 90s. That sound was used a lot, but I added some effects to it to modernize it a little bit. There I go again with the opera and choir hook melodies. Not generally my style of beat making. Would I write to something like this? No. But it's something different. There are some beats on these that I didn't like, but took me a while to get them done because I tried to get them to where I was at least okay with them. And this is one of those beats where I spent probably a little too much time on it to try to make it acceptable to my liking. And even still, I wouldn't write to it. I do like the hook. You don't even have to write anything to that hook. Now, this here is probably my favorite beat that I made that's on this album. I will say, when I made this beat, right after I got done making it, I had a new profound confidence in myself, where I was like, okay, I'm able to create something cool and catchy. I'm gonna run with it and see if I can create more stuff like this. Stuff that I want to write to. But now when I listen to it compared to stuff I make now, I wouldn't even take the time to write to this. Do I like this beat? Yeah, it's not bad. Next. This melody. When I created this melody, I was like, it gave me even more confidence in being able to create melodies that were catchy. It's like, okay, that vocal melody is just insane. I love it. Still. And the one thing that kind of throws me off with this one is when I bring in 808s. At the time, I thought it sounded cool, but now when I listen to this beat, I'm like, I probably wouldn't do this bass line. I'd be doing something different, but it's out there. It's already got its ISRC code. It's already copywritten. Next. This beat is one of those beats that I never really liked. I'm putting out everything. Whether I personally like it or not, I'm putting all of it out. You never know, somebody might come along and be like, hey, I like that and I want to do something with it. Well, then my time wasn't wasted. It's out for you guys.
This beat was my first time trying to really create a drum roll on my own, and I've gotten better at doing drums. Definitely not that good in this. The only thing I really like in this beat is the melody there, which kind of doesn't really fit with the rest of the beat and everything else going on. It's kind of like, I noticed in my earlier beats, there's a lot of that. It's like a hard, gritty song, but then there's like this 80s happy melody going on in there too. I like it to a certain extent. This beat I like. It's tight. I love the melody. It's hard hitting, straight to the point. It's got a lot of energy. I love the bass. If you want to rattle your trunk, get those windows flexing. Love that melody. And it took a minute to get that sound right. It just didn't sound the way I wanted it to. My hooks just go way in different directions. I still like it. I will say my mixing and mastering abilities are better now than they were at this point. I hope I'm getting better. I love just using weird sounds like that. Michael Seven Summers, check him out. He did a lot of interesting beats for Tech 9, where he would use weird sounds like that. That's who I think of when I'm doing stuff like that. Like, dude, that was so tight. I gotta try something like that. When I listen to a lot of music, I'll hear something, I'll be like, ooh, I can do something like that, or I want to do something like that, or ooh, it should go like this. Same with the lyrics. It's always sparking ideas. Always. Next. Yeah. You know what? I don't know if I like the clap on this, but it kind of makes it gritty and sinister. But then that melody in there is not very sinister, is it? Next. This totally makes me think of 2005, 2006. The beats I was making were very similar to this. I made this in front of a friend. He came over and we were hanging out, and I'm like, hey, I'll start making a beat. And he was totally vibing on this. It does have that crunk vibe. Mid-2000s crunk. With the synth melodies. Everything about it very mid-2000s. That melody's tight. Alright, let's go to the next song. This is one I did not like. Melody. I ended up putting some effects on it to make it not so boring. Now the piano Makes me think of like 80s movies or something. Like something real sad just happened. Not that bad. I like it better now than I did when I made it. That hi-hat is something I added in way later. That offsetted hi-hat there. I was like, I need to make it more modern sounding. And doing that good. Which I've gotten way better at doing hi-hats. Go to the next song. Another one with long droning melodies and sounds. I make less and less stuff like this now. But this used to be my jam, how I would make beats. This is just what would always come out of me. Is it what I would gravitate to when looking for something to write to? No. I like boom bap music. Very much in the drums. Love the saxophone and the trumpet. But I also like trippy, weird stuff. As you can tell. Get this show on the road and go to the next one. I just released a song called Uh-Oh, Uh-Oh. This goes, Uh-Oh, Oh No. I gotta look back at names of songs. And I have too many with the same name. This is a crazy melody. My choir melodies. I'm always doing it. Lots of bass. Yeah, and no bending on the bass line. Yeah, I use a driller plugin for that. One thing I don't like about this beat, those trumpets, they just sound weird. Remember, it took me a while to get it sounding right, and I still don't like it. Everything else though, the piano is cool. I love the beat. The beat and the piano are my two favorite, and this melody right here is tight too. I would say out of everything on this album, this is my favorite beat. Yeah, this is something I would write to. If I had to pick anything off of this album, it'd be this to write to, and then that Weehoo and Love and Music. Next. I love the melody on this. Would I write to this? I don't know. I probably would. Yeah. Thing is you rap fast, you rap slow. That's the question. I think you want to mix the go somewhat slow into something kind of fast. I don't want to freestyle, make myself look stupid. chords here in the hook are kind of boring too. Not a good salesman. Buy my beats, they're boring and they suck. Next. I have a love-hate relationship with this beat. It's because of that bass. This doesn't sound the way I want it to. This is a track that took me forever to get sounding just right. There's conflicting sounds that were creating issues with one another. Do I like that snare? Not really. Buy my beats. Wanna know why you should buy my beats? Because it gives me money. I just keep making more beats until I have something tight. So now that I went through everything on Wagz Instrumentalz Volume 1, let me know what you think. You can go through my album starting at Volume 1 and go through and you can see the progression that I made with my beat making ability. And all the way up from the beginning all the way up to now, you'll notice a huge difference. Maybe there's something on this that you'll like. I know for me personally, there's only like 3 tracks that I would probably take the time to write to. The rest of it, it's okay. Horrible salesman. I'm critiquing it and trying to make it so when I walk away from it, I'm happy with it. Not what other people think. I don't care what other people think. But I gotta do this so you know that I exist. I'm out.